when the string has been successfully come to the termination itself. So a simple example has been given here. So let's call the character, then the greetings. So the greeting here in this case is going to be the one-dimensional array of characters. So then we are explicitly writing it out with a double quotation called as the HELLO. That is a default value which is being getting initialized into the array itself. So remember one thing, or you might have already been aware of. So as a user or as a developer, we do not need to suffice the /o, or that is a null character, because the null character is automatically get inserted by the C runtime engine itself. So as a user or as a developer, we do not need to explicitly add it. So this is what we have already been studied from a C perspective. Now what we will do, we will going to study something from a C++ perspective. So the C++, this is what is been called as a standard C++ library. So a library is nothing but, it is a container of the different classes, container of the different functions, or container of the different data types which has been defined under it. So the C++ standard library, it is going to provide a class type. So that class type is being called as a string, and which is going to support all the operations related to string. But however, when we wanted to make use of the string class type, then the header file need to be included into the program, and that header file is being called as the string. So that is why it is being mentioned over here that has include string. So this is what needs to be inserted or to be added up into the program, by which we can continue to have any operation related to string in C++ notation. So there are a couple of examples has been written here. So in this example, what we have done, so we have created a string called as the s1, and we have initialized to hello. Then we have created another string called as str2, and which is being initialized to world. Then we have created another string called as str3, and which is being doing a append operation. So in the earlier class, which have studied something called as the operator overloading. So in this one, so the operator which is being used here, so the operator which is being called as the plus operator. So this plus operator is being used here for the append operation. So in such a cases, what will happen when we wanted to flush it into the console, or wanted to display the message or the output as a part of concatenation, then it is going to display hello without any space called as the world itself. Okay, so is this being clear? The two terminologies is being clear with respect to string.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Then there are some commonly used function which has been used in C, which we are already being aware in C, called as strcpy. So what that strcpy, it just copies a string to another string. So in this case, so the first argument to strcpy is s1, and the second argument is being the s2. So when this function will be called up, so the string s2 will be copied into string 1. Similarly, the strcat function is to concatenate the string. So in this case, the concatenation of the string s2 is going to happen on the end of the string 1 itself. Similarly, strlen of s1, so it is what is going to return the length of the string which is being passed an argument called as the s1 here. Then strcmp, so the strcmp function is expected to return a integer value. It may return 0 if those two strings are equal, and if it is going to be less than 0, then the s1 is being less than that of the s2. So it is going to return a value of greater than 0 if s1 is greater than s2. Then similarly, strch means what? So it is going to return a pointer to the first occurrence of the character called as ch in the str string s1. For an example, suppose the first s1 is being initialized to madam, then the character is being initialized to a. then we can simply call the strchr, and this is what is going to return a pointer, so which is going to point to the character called as the a here. Then this is a something called as the str. So the str function is essentially returns a pointer to the first occurrence of the string s2 in a string s1. So the way strchr is essentially search for the existence of a character in a string. In the similar fashion, so let's call str is going to look upon the existence of a string called as s2 in the string str1 itself, and if does exist, it is going to return a pointer to the first occurrence of that string. If it does not exist, then it is going to return a null pointer. In the similar fashion, in the strchr also, if the character does not exist in the string, then it will return a null pointer itself. Okay, so this is what we have already been done in the first year, first semester. So this is just only to brush up your knowledge. Similarly, there are some classes which has been which there are some functions which has been defined here. So this function is being primarily introduced into the C++1. That means the length function is being there, so which is going to find the length of the string. Empty function, whether the string is empty or not. So if it is empty, that means it is going to return the one, and if it is, so other than, I mean, if it is not empty, then it is going to return a revised value. Similarly, clear means it is going to clear the content of a string. Similarly, compare, find, and substr, these are the functions which are being available in the string class type itself. So we may not need to know, or we may not need to memorize that all the functions which has been written over here, but when we'll be doing some programming with respect to the string, then we will be able to realize that what all functions are going to be useful in order to solve a specific problem itself. Okay, then there are some examples which has been given here. So the first example is being given here, that how do you read and write into a string itself. So the first thing what you have done, so the first IO stream has been added, then the string is also being added, then the namespace has been added over here. Then what you will do, so we have created a string class which is being called as the str, or rather than an object called as the str. Then we are writing the enter a string, then there is something has been written over called str here. Then whatever string that we have entered here, that is what it is going to flush it out. Then in the second fashion, what has been done, so you are being asked to enter another string, and then whatever you have entered, then that is what again going to be read it upon, then again it is going to print that what is the string that has been entered here. Okay, so do you want me to run this program? Do you want me to run this program? Do you want me to run this program which you have talked of now? Okay, let me ask you for the last time. The program which you have discussed now, do you want me to run it on a IDE and demonstrate
Yes,
in
sir.
front of you? Okay, so the same pieces of code which you have taken up and I have just copied and pasted it here. Okay, then what I will do, I will just simply run it. Then it is what has been asked me is that this is what is the currently we are on this line. So in this line it is taking that you enter a string. So what I will do, I will write my name here. Then the input in the end, the variable called as the str, which is there. So this is what has been taken up with the Rajat. And then the C out, that means the message that we are being flushing it out. Then this is what has been told that okay, you enter what is the name that has been entered here. Then the program control is being here. Then it is again asking that you enter another string. So I'm going to enter another string. So let's call, I have entered something called as a Suraj here. Then the same thing which has been happened here. So is this clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Then what we will do, we'll go upon into the second one. The second example is being primarily talking about the function which we have discussed here. So the function which have been discussed here. So these function we will just try to illustrate it here. Then the first thing what we have done, we have just initialized to a some string. So this has been initialized. I have baggage of candies. Then we are trying to find it out whether what is the length of the string. So to find out the length of the string, we will write the length function. Then something which has been done here. So let's call str.empty. So it is checking that whether it is being empty or not. So that is why this is what. So return whether a string is empty or not. That means it is going to return one if the string length is 0, and if the string length is being more than that, then it is going to return the others one. Then this is what is being called as a string resize. That means we are resizing the string. So let's call, in case of an array, dynamic array. So let's call, we have in the dynamic array we have created it either by using calloc or by using malloc. Now at a later point of time we eventually realize that the memory which has been allocated to the array is not sufficient. Then in such a cases what you will do, you are again going to resize the array. So when the resize of the array has to happen, then you need to call another function which is being called as realloc,
Realog.
isn't it? The realloc is the another function which we would like to call, by which either the array is going to be expanded or the array is going to be shrinked. Okay, so similarly the resize means what you are trying to do here, whatever string length has been here, for an example this string length is 15, then we are making it to plus 2, means the 15 plus 2. That means earlier the size of the string was 15, now it has been resized to 17. So when with the resize has to happen here, then the what is the default value that needs to be assigned into those spaces which has been created as a part of the resize. That means we are just telling that so those additional spaces has to be taken up with the plus sign symbols. Okay, then what you have done, we have overwritten. So that means the str which was earlier content, that I have a baggage of content candies, it has been replaced with I love C++. Then what we are trying to do, so we are clearing the string itself. So that means the moment when after clearing it, when we will like to print str.length, it will return a 0. Then when we will write str.empty, then it is going to return a 1 value. Then what you will do, we are just flushing it out, what is the string value out of it, and L means it is the replica of the string. the slash n, the escape sequence which we have discussed in the last class itself. Then this is what is being the return zero function for the successful execution of the function itself. Okay. So again, do you want me to run this in the IDE?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this is what we have written here. The same code what I have demonstrated. This is what we have written here. Now you can see this. What is in here? A cumbersome exercise. Okay, now let's look at it. What has been done here? So we have initialized the str is equal to I have a baggage of candies. So that is what it has been done here. Then what you have, the first statement what it is trying to do, it is trying to print the length of the string. So the length of the string is being called as the 25 here. Is the string is empty? Is the string is empty? It is absolutely not. So that is why it has been written a value of 0 itself. Then what we have done? So we have resized the array. Now let's give a statement onto the resizing of the array. So let's call, we wanted to write it down something called as the str. Okay, so let's call, this is what we wanted to do here. Then we will run it. Then you can see the two additional spaces which has been created. That is what has been filled up with the two plus signs. Now is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Now what we have done? So we have initialized the we have revised the value of the string. So we say that I love C++. Then what we are trying to do? We are just clearing the string. Then we are just trying to find it. We are trying to find the output of this. So it is what is being displaying none here. You can see this. This is what is a null is being getting display here, isn't it? So this is what is being the output of the program which you have written there. Now am I clear? Is the program is clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then what we will do is, so we will move on to another example here. So in this example, what we are trying to do, we are trying to demonstrate the concatenation, and also we are trying to demonstrate the copy of it, and also the art. The art function, what it does, it tries to find it out at a specific index, what is the character on that. Okay, so that is what is the program is all about. So essentially this program is being illustrating the copying of the string, then concatenation of the string, and the demonstration of the art function itself. So in this case what we have done, we have taken the three strings here, three strings, one str1, str2, and then the str3. Then another integer variable which we have taken is being called as the length here. Then what we wish to do, so we are doing it as something called as str3 is equal to str1. So that means what will happen, whatever value that has been written into str1, so that str1 will be copied into str3. Then we are just printing the value in the str3 itself. Okay, then opposed to that what we are trying to do, so we are making the concatenation operator with the str1 and also with the str2. So that is why, so we are writing str3 is equal to str1 plus str2. Then we are plussing it out, str1 plus str2, which is nothing but the str3. That is what we are just printing it down here. Then we are being specifically using the art function here, and this art function is going to tell that what is the character which is being available in the string 3. So that means HELLO. So 1 0 1 2 3 4. So you can find it out what is being available at the fifth index itself. Okay. So let me also run it in the IDE. Okay. Then I think our understanding will be better. Okay. So the same thing what you have done. Now what it is trying to do? What it is trying to do? So let's call it the hello and then the world. Then what you have done? str3 here. So in the str3, what you have done? So basically we are going to write it down. The str3 is equal to nothing but str1 here. That means in the str1, what was there? Hello. So that means in the cout statement, it is showing hello. So till this point, it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Then what we are trying to do? We are just trying to do a concatenation of the two strings here. So that is why the concatenation of the two strings that has been done here. So that is why. So this is what is the message which is being telling that str1 plus str2 is becoming to hello world itself. Then what we are trying to do? So we are just trying to find it out what is the element which is being available at the fifth one. So whether the fifth is being considered as a index or it is being considered as a position. So that means H is at the first, then 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 here. That means it is what has been considering the character at the fifth index itself. Am I clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what is some of the examples related to the strings one. Then following which, what we will do, we will again go through the examples onto the compare, then the find, and then the SUB then the multi-word input. Multi-word input means is what? So let's call currently I have given only a single word, but we can give the multiple word itself. So we will be also looking at it on how the multiple words can be given into this as well. Okay. So in this case, what we have done? So again we have taken the two strings here called str1, then which have apple, and then str2 again it is telling that it is have orange. Then what we are doing, we are making cout str1 compare str2. So the compare function which you have already been discussed there. So if the compare function is going to return 0 only when the two strings are being matching with each other, it is going to return a less value, less than 0 value. So if the str1 is less than str2, if str1 is greater than str2, then it will return a greater than 0 value. Okay. Then what we will do here? So str1 dot find. So in this case, it is trying to find it out whether the character A is being available in the string or not. Similarly, we are trying to find str2 dot find. So in this case, we have supplied a single character. Now in this case, we have supplied a string here. So that means in the str2, we are trying to find it out whether the word or the string does exist in the string or not. Then what we are trying to do? So a substitute of SUB str. So what is SUB str? Return a string from a string by specifying its position. That means this is what has been written here. So SUB str means is what? It is going to return the string from the index number 3. For an example, we are trying to find it out the SUB from this angle, from this one. Then it is what is going to return a subset of the string from the third index itself. So similarly, str2.substr, it is what it's trying to tell. So this is also going to return a subset of the string starting from the index number 3 till index number 5. So this one will start from the index number 3 till the end of the string, and when we are writing substr with a second parameter here, then my static index is going to be 3 and the end index is going to be 5. So in the first case, the static index is going to be 3 and there is no end index. That means it will take the rest of the string values itself. Okay. Then something has been written here called as a string name. Then getLine is nothing but a function. So this getLine is being trying to take the multiple words. So this is what is going to take a multiple word. Then whenever this has been done here, then we are just flushing it out to the output console itself.
Sir,
Okay. Yes.
actually, sir,
Yes.
sir, what do you mean by the last line? See out.
What is meant by?
Last
I'm sorry. What is meant by?
Sir is asking what is meant by the last man count name and handle.
Last name.
No,
Which
sir.
one?
Which is count string 2 substring 3 5. This one.
Okay, this one. This one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You are talking about this, right? So what this means is that, so substr is nothing but getting a substring. Okay, so let's call, suppose something which I have written have then apple here. When we write str2.substr, that means the substring will be initiated, or the substring will be from the third index, then it will end at fifth index. When we write substr only 3, it will start with the third index, but it does not have an endpoint. That means it will go till end of the string. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's run this to understand how this is working and so. Okay. Okay, this is what has been done here. I will just run it out. Okay, so now what has been done here? String str1, then string str2. We are comparing it. So this one is being lesser than this. When we compare this function, what has been happened? So this have apple is being lesser than the have orange. In this case, what will happen? This is what is expected to return a lesser than 0 value. So the minus 14 is being nothing but a lesser than 0 value. Am I clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Then we will say that you tell me
Sir,
that
why
what is,
it's showing minus 14?
pardon,
Why it's showing minus
why it is returning minus 14? Wherever there is a difference has been come here. So the difference till this point it is clear to everyone. Then what it does, it will calculate the ASCII value of this, then it will calculate the ASCII value of this. So it will differentiate between the ASCII value of A and O. Whatever ASCII value that will come across, that is what it is expected to return here. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then in the second statement, what we are going to tell is that, so we are finding out whether the character called as A does exist in the string or not. So we are trying to find it out from the string 1. So in the string 1, A also does exist. That means it is what has been returning a value of 1. So that means what it is trying to tell here is that, so this is what has been present in the first index. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the third statement, in the third statement it is trying to do is that, so it is trying to find out the whether the string called as have does exist in the string 2 or not. Now the have is being just exist. Then at which index it does exist? It exists from the 0th index itself. That is why it is what has been written a value of 0 here. Am I clear?
So, can you explain once more the code number 11 means the count str finding?
Which one is count str finding?
So, code number 11, sir.
Code number or the line number?
Why, sir? Line number 11.
So the line number 11 is telling that, so the find function is essentially does to find it out whether a character exists in the string or not. That means, so the code which has been written over here, the statement which has been written over here, in this statement we are trying to find it out whether the character called A does exist in str or not. If it does exist, then it is expected to return the index at which the character does exist. Now what is the value it is returning? It's returning 1. What it is trying to tell? That is trying to tell that the character A does exist in this string and this index is being called as the 1. So that is why it is being returning a value of 1 here. Am I clear?
But sir, there are 2A, so it should be return the other values also.
This is the first character. That is what I told in the beginning, right? The first occurrence of the character. So which one is the first occurrence here? Which one is the first occurrence here?
Index 1.
Index 1, right? So that is what it will return, the index 1, right? It will not go to this index, correct? It has been told that, right, in the function which we have discussed, that it has to return the first position. What it has been written here? The first occurrence, correct?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? So this is what I have discussed, right? Find the position of the first occurrence of a character or a string in the string itself. So that means it will look out for the first occurrence of it. So that is what it is being telling that. So this is what is being nothing but the first occurrence of it. So that is why it is returning a 1. Am I clear?
Okay, sir, got it, sir.
Okay. Now in the second example, in the line number 12, in the line number 12, what it is trying to do? It is trying to find out whether the string whose name is being called as the have does exist in str2 or not. So this have does exist here. If it does exist here, then what is the index on which it does exist? So then what is the index the have does exist in str2? It is what is being at the 0th index, isn't it? The have is being placed at the 0th index. That is what it is being returning a value of 0. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's call something called as the substr function. So in the substr function, what it is trying to do? It is trying to extract the substring from a string. What is a substring? That means I can have a substring only apple. I can have a substring with e space apple. I can have a substring with abe apple. I can also have a substring with ple. Am I clear what I am saying now? So these, am I clear or not? Or any questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this case, what we are trying to do, we are trying to find out a substring. So that means, so this substring has to start from the third index. So this is 0, 1, 2, and then 3, isn't it? So that means my substring will be retrieved from the third index itself. So that means my third index is being starting off with A, then it will take up the remaining one. So that means that is why this statement is going to print E then with the remaining one in the str1. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Zal side, is this being clear? Yes.
Sir.
Now, yes. Any questions? Okay, so then we'll move on to the next one. When we will move on into the next one, what has been happened here? So again we are using the SUB STR here. So in the SUB STR, what we are trying to do, so we are trying to again take it up from the third one. So let's call A0, 1, 2 and then 3. That means till what point of time we are taken? We are going to take it from the third index. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then
Yes, sir.
from the third index, how many positions, how many character we need to consider? So that is what it is going to be determined with 5 here. That means from this, E is being one, space is being another one, 2 is another one, R is another one, and A is another one. So that means starting from the index third, how many characters that we need to consider? That means what is the length that we need to consider? So this is what is being called as a 5 here. So if you look at it, we have starting up with E. So this is being one's length, space is being another one, which is becomes to 2. Then O is another one, which is becomes to 3. Then OR becomes another one, which is become to 4. Then A is the another one, which is being becomes to A here. That means total starting from the index number 3, how many characters that we are being getting, we are interested to take it up as a part of the substring. Am I clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what you are trying to do here is that suppose we have taken up another one called as the string name here, but when I run the program, so this does not execute, isn't it? Whether, so let's call this is what I have written here. It didn't ask for it. This is, let's call, I'm going to write let's call, this is what it is not trying to give any input. Otherwise what you should have given, so these names would have been given here, isn't it? So what needs to be done, by which it has to say the value? So we have studied something called as okay. Now we will run this. Let's run it. Okay, so you can see something which has been written here, isn't it? Something which has been written here. So let's call, we have created how many? First string, second string, then the third one. So that means we have created the 3 words. So that means which is having a separate. So that is why, so what it is trying to say, whatever input that has been given here, the input buffer are going to be cleared. That means that is what we have written, something called as the cin dot get ignore here. Then what we are trying to do? So we are trying to read something called as a get line. So get line is the function by which we can read the multiple one. Then we are just flushing it out the values to it. Now if you look at the code here, then this is what is being called as a multi-word input. That means it is having more than one words. Am I clear?
Sir,
Is it
not
clear?
understood, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so let's call what this means is going to tell that. So in this case, so this is have apple, and then this is what has been done. So what you have done, if you remove this, what has been happened? So these inputs, so let's call, is going to be there in the buffer. So there is a C in dot ignore, which I have already discussed in one of the lab classes or in the theory class. This is what is to remove the or to clear up the input buffer, isn't it? So that is what you have done. I have just get it one with the input buffer which has been created over here as well. Then what we are trying to do? So we are trying to do with a multiple words here. So Rajat and then Kumar and then Behera. This is what is being the multiple words. That means, so if you look at it, then basically this is one word, this is another word, and this is being another word here. Then what you have done? So we have taken up a get line function. So the get line function is a function which is expected to work like a multiple words. So in this case, this is what has been the multiple words. Then these multiple words has been taken up from the input. Then this is what is going to be printed up into this here. Okay. Am I clear now? This is what is being one here. So I just need to add here something called as the cin dot ignore is the function which we need to add it here. Then it will go, which is what is going to work here. Am I clear?
So what if the sin ignore is put before the return 0?
Then how this line? So when we need to clear the input buffer, when you are taking the input, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So if you write it before this, before that the input is already being taken, isn't it? Then what is the point in writing before this? So the inputting, the clearing of the buffer is being required only when it has to be cleared before taking the input, right? So what you are going to do after taking the input of it? It will not display. The program will automatically run, but when you try to run this, so this will not take the input, because at that point of time the buffer may be having with something, and it due to some reason it will not read the input. So that is why before taking the input, okay, for a multi-word statement, we need to always ignore the buffer. That is what is the input buffer. That is why before taking the input, it is always being suggested to make use of the cin dot ignore function. Am I clear now?
Yes, I got it now, sir.
Okay, so the same thing I have just written it over here as well. Okay. Then there is some classwork has been given. So this classwork you do it by yourself. What I am going to do is that I am just going to go through the remaining code. So the remaining string code. So in the third string code, what we will do? We will just do a erase function, and this is the one. What we will do is that we are going to just do a replace function. Okay. So let's just quickly go through the erase as well as with the replace function. Okay. Now from this, what you are expected to do? So in this case, what we are expected to do? What we are trying to do? What this
Sir, I
erase
think so.
function will
Erase.
do?
So it will
String.
erase the string from the 5th index to the onward.
Fifth index till the length 5. That means
Yes,
from
length five.
here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till here it has to remove, isn't it? Are you getting what I'm trying to tell?
Yes, sir.
Now let's
It
run
is.
this. When you will run, what should be the output? When we will run, what should be the output?
Sir,
This test.
This test.
This test. Are we printing it out with a cout statement? How come this test it will reflect? It will not display anything. That is what is the output, right?
Yes, it
Are you
will
printing it?
contain.
No, sir.
The content of the text will be this text. But is this going to print? Is this going to display here?
No, sir.
Because
It is
it
not
is
going to
a
display. So we have not written the cout statement. Then how come it is going to display the output then? Then the output should be nothing, right?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it? So when you run this will not show anything. Am I correct?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So what we need to do? So by which the output has to display? This is what we need to do.
Cout.
Am I clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So in this case, what will happen? This is what it will print. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what it is. Then similarly, we'll go to the next one. So in this case, what it will go? So it is what is going to replace with something, isn't it? So what it is trying to do? So it will go to the fifth index. So what is the fifth index? This is what is 0, 1, 2, 3, and then with the fifth index, isn't it? So from the fifth index, what it will do? It will consider how many character? The 2 character, isn't it? That is
Yes,
what
sir.
it has been mentioned here. So that means this is the one which is going to be replaced with was itself. So when you will run, what will be the output?
Sir,
No output, right? So that means we need to write something cout
Cout.
here. Okay. Then this is what is going to print the values. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So this is what is being a function called, which just to illustrate you the replace one in case of a string here. Okay. Then something called as a stream based IO. Okay. So let's call what is meant by the string based IO. So the string based IO we have already discussed. This is what is being called as a standard output, and this is what is being called as a standard input. The input stream and then the output stream, this we have already been covered. In the lab class I have discussed, and this is the same thing which is also been discussed in the theory class as well. So I will just keep it. Okay, that we have already been covered here. Then we'll touch upon something called as the set W manipulator. Okay, so the set W manipulator is being basically used for the formatting. So the set W function is being specifically used to set the field width of the output data. That means let's call when we wanted to to display some messages onto the output into the output device, let's call it onto your screen, then it is what is going to set the width of it. Now this set W function is going to take an argument, and that is what is being called as a int. So this is what the int is being used for the setting the number of character which is going to be used as a field with itself. Okay, so now let's call the function a code snippet which has been written over here. So in this case, what we are trying to do, so the set W function which is being seen here, this is what has been defined in the header file called as the IO manipulator. So that is why it has been mentioned as IO manip. Okay, so then the integer main function has been defined here. In this case, what we are trying to do, we are just trying to define the something called as a 10 here. That means the output which needs to be displayed, that output we are set the width as the 10th one. Then we are just flushing it out with a value of 77 here itself. So in this case, what will happen? So it will have these all the ones. Okay, this is what will be coming up with the empty ones. That means the 77 is going to, so that is why we have seen that, right? LSB and then the USB, least significant bit, then the upper significant bit. So when you define the field width. So this field width has been defined it here as the 10 here. Then we are trying to print 77. So my 77 will be coming over here as well. So that is why, so the output of this is going to be something like this. Then the second one, what we are trying to do, so we are trying to do something called as a hello. Then we are trying to do the set W7 here. Then what will happen? There is no spaces here. So this hello is expected to work with the 7 character, or let's call it 7 space. Then this is what has been taken up with the 5 spaces. Then it will take the additional 2 spaces. It will be the empty spaces. That is what it has been written as a space and space here. Then this wall is going to be displayed here. Okay. So am I clear on what is meant by the set W manipulator?
Sir,
Is it clear?
Sir, not clear, sir.
So what is not clear?
Sir, means it is not clear, sir. The codes are not clear to me, sir.
The set W is a function which is going to take a integer argument. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what the set W does, it defines the field width. So let's call this is what has been written set W10. That means the output which is going to be print the value, that width is going to be set as 10 here. So is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Then we are printing 77 here. So when we are going to write the print 77 here, so this 77 will be printing here. Then these spaces will be empty, because I have defined the spaces as 10 here, and in the 10 spaces we are basically printing only 2 spaces. The first space is being called as 7 and the second space is being called as the 7 here. That is why you can see the 77 is being showing here and rest of them are being shown as the blank spaces. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Means sir, output will be, means the data will be printed from the rightmost side, no?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
The alignment which you have known in Word, the alignment property, so it will be right aligned. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to the second example. In the second example, what you have done, so we have written hello. Then we are telling that it has to be, the hello has to be into the width, into the field width of 7 position. But the 5 position has been taken off, isn't it? My 5 position has been taken up. So what the remaining 2 position will occupy? It will be the blank spaces. So that is why the output, when we try to run it, you will see there is a spaces here and there is a space here, because these 2 spaces are being added because my set W has been defined into 7, and this hello is going to take 5 spaces, and since it has been defined as a 7, I mean the field width is being set to 7, that is why the 6th and the 7 will be taken off with the blank spaces. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then what is the next one? The append operation is being done here, isn't it? Or the cascading of the output operator has been done here. So once we have already taken up the 7 position here, then the word is going to be printed here. Make sense?
Sir, overall, with the 7 spaces, the 5 spaces has been taken by the hello.
Yes, and the remaining 2 spaces has been the blank spaces, and this word will print after the 7 spaces onwards. Am I clear?
Set W7 is applicable for word.
Yes, it is applicable for this, and this is what is being, this is what it will print first, right? This is what it will print first, then it is going to be printed next, isn't it? So the same statement we can write something like this. This is what we have done with the concatenation. So this is as good as writing this one, right?
So
This is as good as writing like this, isn't it? This statement, the cascading which I have done it here, this cascading can be broken up into something like this. So that means what will happen? So this is what we are going to take up in the 7 spaces. Then in the 7 spaces, hello will print. Then what will happen? The word is also going to be printed after this.
So
am I clear now?
yes, sir. I have
Yes,
doubt,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, as you have told that the alignment will be from the right hand side, means right hand alignment will be there. So sir, space will be from the, means space
Here
will-
in this case, is it a right aligned or it is a left aligned? In the earlier code, where it has been done, it has been done before, right? Where it in the earlier one, what I told, it is being a right alignment.
Yes, sir.
Then we are printing the value.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Then in this case, what we are doing? We are just printing the value. Then we are setting the width.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now
Then
I
it
got
will become a left alignment, correct?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That I was confused, sir, because of that.
Okay. So is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Now it is clear, sir.
Okay. So with this, I'm stopping now. It is 4:05. Okay. Thank you very much for attending the class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.